How can an organization filled with intelligent people become completely blind to reality? How can talented teams, experienced leaders, skilled specialists, and high-performing organizations keep missing problems that later become obvious to everyone? And why do systems often become less capable of seeing reality? Exactly when pressure becomes highest? Maybe organizational blindness is not individual stupidity. Maybe it's a systemic adaptation. And if that's true, then many organizations are operating inside invisible informational bubbles without realizing it. Most people imagine organizations as rational systems. Information enters, leadership evaluates reality, decisions get made, problems get solved. But complex human systems rarely work that cleanly, because organizations are not only informational systems, they are emotional systems, political systems, identity systems, survival systems, and under pressure, those systems start adapting. Pressure changes perception. This happens inside individuals, but it also happens inside organizations. Under pressure, uncertainty feels dangerous, ambiguity becomes threatening, negative feedback becomes emotionally costly, disagreement starts feeling risky, and complexity becomes exhausting. So systems begin unconsciously filtering reality. Not intentionally, adaptively. People slowly learn what can be said safely, what gets punished, what leadership wants to hear, what creates tension, and what becomes politically dangerous to acknowledge over time. The organization stops seeing clearly, not because nobody cares, but because visibility itself becomes stressful. One of the most dangerous things inside organizations is that informational filtering often feels normal internally. Each layer modifies reality slightly. Employees soften feedback, managers reduce tension, leaders simplify complexity, departments protect themselves, executives optimize for stability. And eventually, leadership starts receiving a version of reality that is emotionally survivable instead of accurate. This creates informational bubbles, not through conspiracy, through adaptation. And the more pressure increases, the stronger the filtering becomes. This is why highly intelligent organizations can still become blind. Because intelligence alone does not guarantee visibility. Systems shape perception, especially under pressure. And once defensive adaptation begins, organizations often start optimizing for coherence, certainty, alignment, emotional stability, and short-term survival, instead of reality, contact learning, reflection, contradiction, and uncomfortable truth. That's why many organizations continue repeating patterns everyone privately recognizes, but nobody collectively interrupts. Leadership plays a massive role in this process, not only through decisions, but through emotional conditions. Leaders shape what becomes speakable, what becomes dangerous, what gets rewarded, what gets hidden, and how reality itself gets processed inside the system. And often, the higher leadership rises, the less direct visibility it actually has. Not because leaders become stupid, but because systems start protecting leadership from destabilizing information, especially under pressure. This became one of the foundations behind a framework I call system shaping, a framework for understanding resistance, adaptation, organizational blindness, pressure, behavior, leadership dynamics, and transformation inside complex human systems. Because many organizational problems are not isolated failures. They are recurring systemic patterns. And if the same outcomes keep returning, the system may be organized to reproduce them. The most important question is not, how do we force organizations to perform better? A deeper question is, what conditions are making visibility unsafe? Because healthy systems are not the systems that avoid tension completely. They are the systems capable of processing reality without collapsing into defensiveness. And that requires something most organizations quietly lose under pressure: the ability to remain visible to themselves. Most organizational blindness does not come from lack of intelligence. It comes from adaptive systems learning how to emotionally survive complexity. And transformation begins when systems become capable of seeing the hidden logic behind their own perception. If this perspective resonates with you, I've released the first complete system-shaping framework through Paradigm Red. Links below.